Hi again. So, how are things going?
And? What happened? Oh man! Who is he? What did you think? Really? Huh. Interesting. What's he doing in the church?
No matter. Is he gonna be a problem?
Yeah, Noid is right. Let's get back to the point. What are we gonna do about him?
These guys will never catch him. You will never catch him. There's nothing to do.
I don't know, man. Doesn't it feel like a major hindrance to you? A spooky guy climbing around when all the guests are trying to have nice, friendly hyper time?
I guess it's not a massive problem, now that I think of it.
Everyone is welcome to dance till the morning light! Yeah!
Maybe. I guess we'll figure something out. Okay, but what about the other spooker? The one in Grandma's clothes? Did you see her? A programmer? That's odd. What was she like? Did you ask her about the nightclub? Come on, man. Who will you trust? A spooky programmer or us? We just want to make the world a better place.
Feel the love! Get down and feel it!
A half-hearted sell of something which does not seem worth buying.
You'll get there, believe me. When we've got our gear set up, things will be flowing and pumping. Anyway, now that it's settled, how did she seem? I mean, disposition-wise, about the dance club idea. Ja oder nein? Rocking it or dropping it?
What a pity! That's my favourite thing in the world! And she doesn't like it at all!
A shame. What can we do now? Do you see a way out of this jam and into a laser-lit future of dance and unity?
Unity! Dance!
And you can't just evict her?
Look at you, Honour Man!
No, Noid. He's right. Maybe we've approached it the wrong way after all. I'm sure there's a workaround. We can make a deal not to bother her. If that's okay with her, we only want to get in the church and spread the joy and ecstasy of music.
The lines in the dark exist! Coexist!
At least Crabman seems like an advanced being. He's hard. He'll understand.
Yeah, he can do his climbing thing in the tower. And the programmer, does she like anodic dance music?
Egghead cannot believe what she just said. It makes him pump the jam a little slower for a moment, but then he returns to the full swing of it.
No worries. We'll figure it out. If coexisting fails, you can always muscle her out, right? If it's all okay with you, what do you think? Excellent! Good luck, my friend. Goodbye, officer.
Huh? I see you're here again, off-sign man. Did I mention getting us into the church would help? A sticker? You mean the yellow one? Can you describe it to me?
Interesting. He wants you to describe it, though he already knows what it looks like.
So I can hear you do it. Sometimes the outside gaze helps us reflect on things.
Noid, don't bother our guests with your games.
Piss off, Andre. Me and Mr. Cop are trying to discuss art.
You shouldn't talk like that.
Right, noted. Sorry. Anyway, what was it like?
An off-handed sorry, if there ever was one.
Good, good. What did you want to know? Yes, you're the 23rd person to get it right, and I've asked 23 people. Looks like it's a dead guy smiling to the entire human race. Really? We're all the same. Same eyes, same smiles, same death. He defeated history. We are living in the age of history, and in the eyes of history, we are always already dead. How can we ever smile then? Because history is a lie, and so are its deaths. The present moment and life are the hardcore. The hardcore expels death. Or maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's just really ecstatic about the beats. Yeah, that interpretation holds. Simplicity was brought to us by a classical soul artist modernism, but that was a tasteful, harmonious simplicity, right? Well, hardcore is not tasteful or outwardly harmonious. It's a warning shot. This will be dangerous. The echo of man's loss haunting him. The sticker, the clothes, the music, same thing. Not alone. Many people are thinking the same thing right now. We all see the same smiling dead guy in a couple of X's and a circle, and a curve. The beat is the same for all. I guess one could write an entire treatise on the thing, but what for? Nah. Still strongly out of sync. Stage gamma disalignment. You heard me.
We're close. True, hard, full, car. It's hardcore. Skibber-dee, skibber danger. I am the rearranger. We're close. True, hard, hardcore.
Yeah!
This young man, or maybe it's not got volume. Maybe it's
The Y to the E to the... Yeah!
he missed one A.
I'm the hard rhymer, the track attacker, the mic enforcer, the sixth checker. We're close. True, hard, hardcore. Hardcore to the mega. Here comes the nut. We're close. True, hardcore.
Yeah!
This young, or maybe it's not got volume.
The Y to... Yeah!
He missed one A.
It's nice to be important, but it's important to... We're close. True, hardcore. Hardcore to internally coherent. Good morning, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yakokata, the place to be. It's the message, so listen and you will... We're close. True, hardcore. Hardcore, internally.
All car! All right! Yeah!
Gotta get the people going. I'm the party boy. It's my job. Hardcore party 25/7 beyond the winter's orbit style.
There is a place far away in Cutler, beyond a certain latitude, known as Winter's Orbit, where there are 25 hours in a day. It is a tremendously cold place, abandoned to drunks and failed rock stars, full of Eternite, depression, and half-finished ski-flying hills. The Suru live there.
We're close. True, Hardcore is internally coherent.
All core. All right. Yeah.
He furrows his brow.
Hardcore! Ah! The question is, what is the question? But there was a question? We're close. True. Hardcore. Hardcore is a mega. Here comes the nut. We're close. True. Hardcore. Yeah.
This young, or maybe,
You know about
You know Van Eyck? Good, good.
the Advent? We're close. True. Hardcore. Hardcore is a mega. Internally coherent. Good morning, yeah. It's the We're close. True. Hardcore. Yeah.
this young, or maybe,
You know about it?
You know Van Eyck? Oh, well, it really is him. It's an honest-to-God Van Eyck beat. Well, actually, a reworking of a Peppy Popic and Arsos track. But let's not get too deep into that whole mess.
The Advent? We're close. True. Hardcore. Hardcore is internally coherent.
All core. All right.
he furrows his.
Hardcore! Ah! The question is, what is the question? But there was no question. True. Hardcore internally.
All core.
He furrows.
Is it though? But is it? I mean, really? No, but seriously, I'm a bit worried it isn't.
The skin on your back is crawling. For a second, you can't even hear the music anymore. There is a hawthorn tree on Rue de Saint-Gilles Lane, right next to the canal. Don't be alarmed. Everything is okay. He isn't actually worried. Everything is still super hardcore. What he probably means is, it could be even more so.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm still in love with the hardcore. Sometimes I just feel like anodic music is in its infancy, you know? For example, take this Arno van Eyck jam I've been pumping for the last month, and will continue pumping for the rest of 51. Isn't something holding it back from being hyper? It's like it's only ultra.
I think it's super hardcore, but you're right. It's not hyper hardcore.
If anything, it sounds a bit proto, like it's not fully formed yet. You might be a moribund alcoholic and a failed cop, but you are pretty certain a thing cannot be both proto and hardcore.
We can all hear it's not hyper-hardcore. If figures of authority keep telling us things are hyper when they're clearly not, how are we ever supposed to evolve to hyperdom?
Uh-huh. Wow! Culture card! I think you might be right. But how could it become hardcore then? I know it in my heart, but cannot think it in my head. If this is not hardcore, how could anything be? No! This is the answer! What? Guys, there's something happening in his head. Oh yeah! He's doing it! I know! So does mine! Uh-huh! What? Oh yeah, I know. So does no. This is the art. Yeah. No nation, but transnation. No war, but class war.
Don't be a lunatic. Of course he isn't. Jermaine here just yells random things. Odds are, sooner or later one of them will come off as fault reading.
Yeah! Revolution imperative!
Unless you were thinking Revolution imperative right now. Anyway, I've had a similar thing happen with Eggs yelling. I know what you mean.
Hardcore superstar!
He's not a communist. It's just something he likes to yell. He picked it up from a tape jockey at the Elysium. She was a communist, though.
Yeah! With the rebel yell! Oh sure! I can do that! If you want that, I can avoid taking a stand.
Please don't turn him into a moralist.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Aye! It's time to compromise! I'm swiftly moving toward a solution which pleases nobody. Darkcord hardcore! Jermaine Egghead!
Basically, yes it is.
Lungs are for love! Love! In a woman's lungs. Lonely as I am, I'm not afraid. This strange, damaged feeling grows on and on, 'cause I've never loved someone like you before.
A dopamine surge accompanies the words. It feels like electricity flowing down your scalp, dissipating into your neck. Feels good, like a spark of life in that moribund sponge you call your body.
All right!
Hi again. So, how are things going?
Goodbye, officer.
Hello again.
It's getting late, and it's raining. Time to call it a day.
Good night, officer. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer? Oh? Well, how can I assist you then, officer? Oh. That's good to know, I guess. Why is it in the sea? This calls for a funeral, if you ask me. Aye. Feels deserved, don't you think? Falling in the line of duty like that and all. Why odd? Our things are a part of our life world. They're made with our human sweat and they share human history. We should care about them as we care about humans. To some extent, at least.
Life world? Someone's been reading up on last century Gottwaldian philosophers. Play it cool now.
Oh yeah? You won't even be able to get it out of the water before early June. And where are you going to bury it? Who to invite? What music to play at the wake? Take it from someone who's been through a few funerals. It's easiest to just leave them there and let nature take care of it. I understand, believe me. I really do. I think about all the frivolous side activities I could be doing every time I go out there with my nets. But daydreaming is a rich man's game. At sea, you can't afford to be careless and dream. Anyway, what are we talking about here again? You're back. Good. What can I help you with? What would you like to know? Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a... Then what does that say? 33A? This old approach... Yes. Anyway. Good. More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything. Are you sure you're sure? Your colleague seemed adamant. Okay. The Pale is the most dominant geological feature of the world, Detective. The separative tissue between the islas. It is the inter-islary mass. Isla is a Messinian word for a continent of matter, enveloped on all sides by the Pale. Also, isolation, or landmass. We used to believe there was only one. In the last 4 centuries, we have discovered 7. Mundi, Seol, Samara, Ilmara, Grad, Katla, and this, Insulinde. An oceanic isla. It comprises mostly of water. Muindi is the largest, Katla the coldest, Insulinde the bluest. What can I say? Each is perishing and dear. Achromatic, odorless, featureless. The Pale is the enemy of matter and life. It is not like any other, or anything in the world. It is the transition state of being into nothingness. No, Detective. We're safe. It begins there, 6,000 kilometers to the north, and even more to the south, east, and west. You are in the middle of the Isla. An uproar of matter, darling, rising into the pale, rolling, evaporating even, a great vision. The area of transition between the world and the pale is called porch collapse. Imagine a grey coronal mist, cold vapour marked by spores of an opportunistic microorganism, a mould that's adapted to grow at the edge of the unrest. It's the most disco thing you will ever see. It's difficult to describe, or even measure. Something whose fundamental property is the suspension of properties. Physical, epistemological, linguistic. The further into Pale you travel, the steeper the degree of suspension, right down to the mathematical. Numbers stop working. No one has yet passed the number barrier. It may be impossible. Oh, it is so difficult for us.
A squall of birds, hardware operating in the harbour, firm, self-evident.
It is possible to force dimensions on the Pale. In modern times, we can even compress its latitude, bouncing radio waves from one end to the other, shortening the path. But it is still hard for humans to navigate the Pale without getting lost or having our minds damaged. Extensively. Some say the damage stems from extreme sensory deprivation. Others argue that Pale somehow consists of past information that's degrading, that it's rarefied past, not rarefied matter. They call it the blend over of the self. The Pale does not only suspend the laws of physics, but also the laws of psychology, maybe history even. The human mind becomes over-radiated by past.
Who says and who argues?
The logical positivists say, the dialectical materialists argue. It feels terrible. Absolutely terrible. International standards strictly limit civilian travellers to 6 days of Pale exposure per year.
It's more for her. Way more.
No, Lieutenant Dubois. I'm entreprenetic business class. I'm cleared and trained for 22 days of Pale transit annually.
Perhaps that explains her strange pining after the revolution. Some degraded early memories. Someone else you've met may have been exposed as well. The strange grey-haired woman in her lorry.
Yes, carried in the hulls of airships. It's a horrific job. Automation will abolish it soon.
You should ask the Pale driver about this. See what she says.
Up to my gills, officer. Entreprenetics is the scientific study of the Pale, or a recent iteration of it by way of grad. The study of the Pale reaches back 6,000 years. The Pericarnassians called it the Western Plain.
They had not travelled the entire circumference of the Pericarnassian Super Isola. It was not merely in the west, it was everywhere, even then, surrounding them.
There are signs of pre-modern crossings. Successful navigation of the Pale relies not just on technical know-how, but intensive psychological preparation. Some of these tactics have been known for thousands of years. Nothing. We remain powerless before the Pale. The only real advance in Pale transit is the speed with which an aerostatic craft can pierce it. Less exposure leads to less effects later. Hybrid airships, Detective. Conventional rotors or jet engines no longer add velocity after the point of reference for motion is suspended, once you've crossed from near Pale to far Pale. In essence, we throw them in and they come out the other end, if we throw them precisely. Then they don't.
Gone, like a skipping stone beneath the surface.
The Pale outweighs reality 2 to 1. There is more Pale than there is matter, and the ratio is slipping. What do you think, Detective? Precisely. One of the few measurable effects of the Pale is that it is expanding at an unknown rate. An intuitive conclusion of that development is that one day the Pale will cover everything. But this sort of talk is mostly left to extremists. Most people, and indeed most private and government sector organizations, entire civilizations and religions even, find handy ways to ignore or downplay that knowledge. I suggest you do the same. Yes, sweet reality. But before we do, tell me, Detective, is this the first time you're hearing this? Do you really not remember anything? Then tell me, what do you think of the Pale? You really didn't know. This does not spell good for the investigation, Detective. If you don't know even this, then... I hope so. I truly do. If I may suggest, hold on to your colleague, Kitsuragi. I ran a check on him and he is very competent. In the meanwhile...
Some of that assurance is meant for herself, as much as it's meant for you. She must have a lot on the line here.
You have me. I will assist you in any way I can, even if we have to do it one basic term at a time. Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else?
Tequila sunset. I do. But as you can see, my fuel tank is running quite low. If you catch my drift. Then I can't keep on telling the stories. Ah, tequila. I knew you'd come through. That's fucking great, man. What's that supposed to mean? What's that got to do with my jacket? What do I care about some local stiff? You gonna give me the jacket or no? Let me see. What? This isn't my jacket. My jacket was beautiful. This is fucking filthy. What am I supposed to do with this? I'm not taking a disgusting pile of hobo rags. I may be in an irrecoverably decaying orbit, but I've still got standards. Either bring it back the way it was before, or find a dumpster to burn it in.
Underneath the accumulated filth, the jacket itself appears to be stain resistant. Maybe it just needs a good scrubbing.
Wonderful. Not much, but it will do. The tale I'm about to tell you is an urban legend particular to Martinez. That said, I first heard it from a former bicycle courier in Coran. There are many variations on the basic story, and the details often conflict. What everyone agrees on is that nobody knows the exact nature or identity of the phenomenon.
Are you telling the story of the headless...
Shut the fuck up, Rosemary. Summer of 44. 17-year-old Gertrude Het is walking home from a late shift at the harbor. It's almost midnight. She stops for a cigarette near the canal.
The streets are warmed by a southerly breeze. The lights of a passing motor carriage bloom and fade in the distance. In the harbor's dark, her cigarette is a beacon, dancing alone. The image comes to you effortlessly, as though you'd walked the same streets yourself 1,000 times.
Our heroine finds herself enjoying the peace and quiet the canal provides. What she doesn't know is that her peace is about to be shattered. From behind her comes the clattering of hooves. Startled, she turns around, and what does she see? Well, yes, but it's the man on the horse that's of interest here. A man...
The pause is long and dramatic.
With no head on his shoulders. Wearing a fawn tracksuit, searching for the legendary fawn cap that went missing when he lost his head. Well, there are many versions of this story, the most peculiar of which has the headless fawn rider riding on the back of another headless man. If I hadn't lost my keys that one time, I'd agree with you. But life is a cruel mistress. Gertrude Het may have been the first to witness the headless fawn rider, but she wasn't the last. Oh no.
Tell him about the two feminists by the locks.
Fuck, Rosemary, they were dating. No one said they were feminists. Everyone always misremembering this stuff. Right. Early autumn of 46. Ula DuPont and Eva Delgado are fishing near the waterlock long after the sun has set. The wind picks up. A sky already dark now blackens. Water starts falling from above. The first cold rain of the season.
Two women stand on a small outcropping of rocks. One of them is wearing a purple raincoat. Thin lines reach out from the rods into the sea. Small droplets start appearing on the surface with increasing frequency.
The women are caught in the downpour. They act quickly. Eva gathers the rods whilst Ula turns around to reach for the tackle box. When she sees something, her shriek is so violent that the residents of the nearby apartment building believe lightning has struck. But there is no lightning. Only a heavy downpour and the silhouette of the headless Faun Rider looming on the horizon. Ula makes a run for the shore, but Eva slips on a wet rock and disappears into the cold, cold canal with nary a sound. Her body is never recovered. Word on the street is that she, gave herself facial deconstruction surgery. Real grisly stuff. Anyway, that's the story of the Headless Faun Rider. Pretty crazy, huh? Well, Tequila, that's part of the legend. No one knows for sure. There are a couple of possibilities, though. Some say he was an undercover cop who blew his cover and got beheaded by the vicious gang he had infiltrated. Now he rides, searching for his lost found cap, plotting revenge. Others claim he was a professional jockey who veered off course during a steeplechase, ended up in somebody's backyard, and got decapitated by an exceptionally taut clothesline. Personally, I think he was just some guy who hanged himself from a really tall tree, and the fall was so violent that his head came clean off. Coincidentally, at that exact moment, a horse happened to pass under him, and his beheaded corpse mounted it, where it remains to this day. But then, no one really knows.
For some reason, this does strike you as the most plausible theory of them all.
Isn't it? All the pieces fit together perfectly. That's how I know it's right. Anyway, to each his own. You want to hear any other stories? That's the reality situation for you. You think you got a handle on it, then blam! It throws some wild shit at you. That's why it's critical to stay well hydrated. Yeah? Why don't you go eat shit, Tequila? There's no way you know a better one than that. I have to admit, that's pretty high concept. Still not as awesome as a headless rider in a found tracksuit, though. Yeah? Why don't you go eat shit to keep... Acid gnomes? Sounds like a stupid, low-concept band name. Yeah? What? Giants? That the best you got? Give me a break, Tequila. Yeah? Why don't you go... Do you always try to pick the lamest option possible? Come on, Tequila! Yeah? Why don't... Damn right it doesn't. So... No one knows. Some say he stalks Martinez to this day, and can be seen near the canal when the clock strikes midnight. Ooh.
Aye, I saw him one night when I was right shit-faced.
I actually do have one. The strangest of them all. But I'll need to fortify myself before I can tell that one. Do you have anything to fortify old Doom Spiral? Tell me you got some story juice. If you find any, I'd be extremely grateful.
This is the trap Morel just set. Checking it over, he said, is just a technicality. But the reeds hiss and shake in the darkness that has settled over the abandoned camp. It's good the cryptozoologists left. This isn't a very cozy place to stay night after night. The later it gets, the colder. Remnants of the camp can still be seen in the sand. The fire that's gone out. This trap is also full of panicked locusts. No sign of any cryptozoological beast inside. This trap's not too hard to spot, once you know what to look for. Keeping it hidden has not been a priority for the cryptozoologist. The reeds rustle confidently, while the residential building, menacing in the darkness behind you, shield them from the wind. When this district was booming, the reeds were kept at bay. Nothing obscured the freshly painted facades. Nowhere for drunks and adventurous teenagers to hide. Now only the wind blows. Nothing but locusts in this trap as well. Definitely no cryptozoological monstrosity. It takes you a moment, but finally you spot the last of Morel's traps. This one's partially obscured by the reeds. The reeds bend forlornly toward the water. Some tufts have been crushed. The broken stalks sickly pale against the darkness. In the east, the city center hums to you. The constant, distant song, louder on this part of the coast, nearer somehow. And there's that cold again. Always the cold. The trap feels light and silent as you pick it up. Something is different here. No locust. No phasmid either, but still. Nothing. No traces of the locusts or the Insulindian phasmid. What happened? The netting is a little untidy, messier than the others, like someone or something picked up the trap and shook it before dropping it back down on the ground. The reeds continue to hiss around you as you put the empty trap back on the ground. Time to consult the professionals, Morel and Lena. This is it, the scene of the party, the fire pit. Cigarettes and empty bottles all evidence it. Not as such. I'm talking about what came after the party scene. Looks like they were here a while, judging from all the bottles. The sunken motor carriage provided them a focal point, like a goose ice sculpture or a chocolate fountain.
Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything. I doubt it, but I can try and answer.
The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed.
Sure, let me have a look. Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps. The Coldima Madakwa? Sorry, I would never have guessed that you were that interested in ultrasonic sounds. Or birds, for that matter. What an interesting... Once, this was before... You know. Lost touch. Cool or not, we thought we did. We got together all these recordings of Unfortunately, I don't have any recordings from my old life. This recording comes from down the coast. Keep in mind.
As the not good, not good, he nods to you, reassuringly, just as more.
And...
That's it, a low range of sound.
You know, now that I've listened to it on the...
The boomboxes wait on the shelves, and your boombox, that gold and amber Harmon Waushi, stares at you longingly with its tape reel eyes.
And here you are, quality sound reproduction on the go. It'll play anything, wherever, turn any tape into a conversation of sounds and shapes.
The porter reel is just what you needed. The reel's attached to the apparatus with a satisfying click. The tape is routed behind the magnetic reader. You press the large button marked Commencer, and the tape starts spinning. There's a small delay before the song starts playing. It sounds like someone's moving in the room, getting comfortable. Then the organ starts playing a simple, melancholic tune, echoing in the hallway. A lone singing voice joins in, telling you about the tiniest church in Sessons, surrounded by even tinier yard. You almost feel the seaside mist on your skin. It's mega sad. Within seconds you know, this is the one, the real shit you've been looking for. The one you trust your room to that Claudia told you about. Perform it. A click, then silence for a bit. Then the tape stops spinning. Of course you could sing this. You could take sad to a whole new level with this. And you already know the lyrics since you've listened to it like 1,000,000 times. Yup, they're all here. All 3 verses. And the B-side of the tape contains the instrumental version. It's like the world itself is telling you to do it. Only one obstacle stands on your way. Gart, you have to convince Gart to let you sing karaoke in the whirling. After you've won him over, you can express yourself. Let the pain out. Make everyone understand. The dented yellow mailbox. There is a hollow ring as you kick the box. It sounds like it's mostly empty. Your toe hurts now. Your toe has suffered damage. It hurts.
Hi again, gendarme. Bye-bye, gendarme.
Hey, was there something got the 20 real? Then why are you wasting my time? No, you don't. It's not happening. The whirling doesn't need more sad style. That's one of the styles it can do without right now. It's for no one. It's a prop. I'm not letting anyone use it after the great karaoke catastrophe of '44. A lot of people got killed because some arsehole wanted to sing karaoke. Okay, yes, it's for some clients. Ha! Well, we don't have any tapes. They all got stolen.
He's lying, but whatever. You don't really need his lame tracks. The man in the vest and the violet shirt stares at the tape you've just given him. He begins to frown. Hard.
Fine, fine. Climb on that stage and do your thing. Just get out of my hair. I'll plug it in for you. Damn this...
I'm having it uninstalled, he mumbles to himself. The door is closed. Still, no. Still, no. This door can only... Both cables are unplugged. This orange machine is dead still. You slip your fingers. No. If you want to try again, then you need to have the pry bar in your hand, detective. This orange machine is dead still. It has a... This old fire, the whole thing resembles Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. Casting the frame, the speaker comes to life.
Good evening, sir. Please repeat. It's good. Good. I've unlocked the production schedule. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament. Fortress accident. Is there any thank you and goodbye?
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. With a quiet determination, the printer starts printing, a piece of paper unfolding like a handheld fan. A black crisscross of letters covers its surface. It's a project report written by the lead producer, Andrew Andy Schott, about Whirl Untethered, a radio game developed by Studio Fortress Accident. The first few pages give an overview of the capital and workforce, while the rest of it seems to be a production schedule. In its short time of existence, Fortress Accident SCA managed to burn through truly insane amounts of money. The first tranche of seed financing brought in 150,000 Riyal, but then came the delays. Eventually, the damage reached 400,000 Riyal, with only half of the game finished. Let's just say it was a real adventure for their Igaunian investor. Fortress Accident employed 18 people, the bulk of the team composed of writers and concept artists. There were also radio programmers, sound engineers, a CEO, 2 marketing experts, and a single overburdened producer who developed a habit of popping Pyrrolidon in the basement to escape his obligations. The production schedule depicts their glorious descent into bankruptcy. It was impossible not to fail. The project was too large, and no amount of money could satiate the ever-expanding ambitions of the development team. They tried to make a 4 million Riyal game with 400,000 in their bank account. They thought they could bridge the gap with pure willpower and imagination. They couldn't. No, you couldn't have. Definitely not. Not a chance. Even then, success remained within an ever-narrowing margin of possibility that, despite everything, never entirely disappeared. That is, until they discovered the Valley of the Heads. At the 11th hour, the lead designer, Jimsk-born Suliswaf Jalisa, decided that what Whirl Untethered needed was a secret mystical location at the extreme edge of the map. This place was to be the Valley of the Heads, where the heads of all the headless constructs could be found. The player would have been able to choose a head for their headless party member, and each head would have been voiced on air by a professional actor. The world had never seen their kind before, and might never again. So many. The last count, there were approximately 10,000 heads for 10,000 headless men, all of which could be endlessly recombined. Do you really want to know? There seems to be a calculation here, but it may take a while. What if you broke the radio computer? What if it's never going to stop? And that's it. Well, yeah, that and the catastrophic data loss. On the nature of the data loss, there's ominously little information in the production log. It comes at the very end where things get fuzzy and dark, where tables and numbers seem to vanish into an eerie nothingness before the Igaunian investors pulled the plug. What is clear is that one day an unidentified numeric anomaly occurred on the East Insulindian Lintel front, just as the Wirral Untethered project was being compiled that day. When the project was returned, it was completely blank. The team spent weeks on the phone with Lintel, the service provider, but despite their diagnostics, they could never produce a satisfactory explanation or pay for the loss. Always read the terms of service. Mysteriously enough, it seems that the off-site copy happened to be on-site when the catastrophic data loss occurred. It was the lead programmer's responsibility to oversee weekly maintenance of the off-site copy and, well, keep it off-site. An explanatory note from the lead programmer has been attached. S. Luukinen Kilda, the lead programmer of Fortress Accident, the off-site copy was on-site because there was no off-site anymore. Not for me, not after 8 months of crunch. I didn't have a home anymore, so I started keeping it in the basement in the ice bear refrigerator near where I went to sleep. It was perfectly safe there. The temperature conditions were optimal. Her former colleagues would agree with you. The production schedule ends with a few random notes that seem to be added sometime later. 4 months later, by an unknown author. I am the only one left, and it's gotten rather damp here. A few other businesses have gone under too. Slipstream switched to making skis, and the hairdressers just left, cursing Martinez. They're right though. Something's seriously wrong with this place. Martinez, all of it. Still haven't got an answer from Lintel about what happened. All I could get were the physical coordinates of the error on the East Insulindian front on that day. Since the computation happened on air, I reckoned it had to coincide with an actually existing location. I have compared the coordinates to a map of Revachol West. Turns out it's only 800 meters from here. The address is Saint-Brun 1147. I am going there to look this thing in the eye. Saint-Brun 1147? That's what the street sign next to the church said. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard. An old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the companies in the East Delta Commerce Center. You hear the same waiting room music, but The woman is still hunched over the...
Huh? What is it? What do you want? And what is that? Oh, meu Deus. The lawman solved the case. And here I was, thinking you were an idiot. So, are you? An idiot, I mean. You are an idiot. And you are keeping me here, glued to this racket. Unless there was anything else? And what is that? Oh, meu Deus. And here I was, thinking you... like Gabriel Buenguerro in Pergunte a Poeira. You're the opposite of me, then. I remember everything, even things I never knew. The smell of liquor on Gabriel's lips after the shoot, in the motor park. The roses on the day of Franco Negro's coronation, on the grand stairs of Ryle. The smoke from the Fowling piece when Dolores Day was shot. The look on her face, like an orgasm. The wound in her chest, my hand in my father's hand. Except I never had a father, and I never shot her innocent Dolores Day. Heroic doses, Harifea. Heroic. Thought insertion? Dithering? The Grad Catalan Magistral? It's more than dangerous. It's sad. But at first I had to make a living. Now, when you've seen it all go away like that, rolling off like the sea, and then come back to this. What are we doing here? For thousands of years, Gabriel. It doesn't have to be like this. We can just give up. We can just become a vapor. Like looking into the ocean at night, in the dark. You cannot see it, but you know it's there. And it's big, bigger than anything. Bigger than all the other things combined. Nothing. Until it starts. When you are deep enough. Then, for me, it's like autumn. Dark, gray, and orange. The orange of street lights and the color of streets and electric light. It smells like autumn, too. It smells terrible.
Nostalgia. Cooped up in the cabin, shaking. Terrible nostalgia. For yourself. For humans. It's too much to bear. She loves it.
In the belly of an airship, behind the steel windows. So you don't look straight into it. It's not advised to look into it. No, the same one, a roller. They all are nowadays. Special wheels for connecting to the floor of the hold.
The wheels all small and round, multi-axle trailers.
Yes.
No elaboration.
They say there is a point, one that I have not crossed. In the Pale, super deep. If you stray too far, of course, on the U41A, or in Lomonosov's land, where every step you take is one step further from home, no matter the direction. It's a point you cannot come back from. Your mind becomes so radiant with the past, there is a flip. Instead of writing, it erases memory, nearing some kind of indescribable finale. Maybe you've been down the motorway south? It's a story as lone horsemen tell. Lone horsemen, Jerife, not Pale drivers. Way beyond the established Pale that's lit by radio frequencies, where it goes silent. And dark, and the process begins, erasure, kilometer by kilometer, in any direction. The motorway south is a road you cannot come back from.
In the center of this town, there's a ghostly motorway, she sang.
They say I've been away on a kind of holiday. No one knows what's at the end. I've only glimpsed the beginning. I've only felt it in the distance when I was a child. A child rowing on the lake. Josiana.
There is nothing more to do now. She's far away. She is receding in the clutches of some indescribable scattered emotion. A child descending.
Yes, what is it? The swallow, you mean? What about it? Great, thanks. I don't want to make anything work. Yes, anything. I don't want to make anything work.
It's not the anodic dance music that's made her bitter. It's the failure of Fortress Accident.
That's right. If we couldn't get our Welkins to happen, I don't want anything to happen. Ever again.
There's not a trace of irony in her voice. She means it. Easy. When her research is done, she can move out.
What? No, I don't really need any help with the project.
She thinks about it, a glassy look in her eyes. A gust of wind brings more snow in from the broken gallery. It touches her hair.
All right. Bring me the game's offsite copy from my old workspace, if you really want to help. It's stored on a filament memory, and I'm unable to go and fetch it myself. It's a backup of my former employer's project, the radio game we were working on. It's stored on a filament memory, just like the one inside this radio computer.
She's making it extra simple for you.
The backup itself is destroyed now, but I'm hoping to use what's left of it to pinpoint the exact location of the anomaly. You just have to go to my old workspace and get the filament.
Hold on. If it's called an off-site copy, then why is it still on-site?
Oh God, not this again. It is not on-site. It is in the basement. Perfectly safe and not connected to the front at all.
Basement? Sounds like it's technically still on-site.
And no, taking it outside the building wouldn't have protected it from the data loss. There's nothing wrong with keeping the backup in the basement. What happened was a freak accident that has nothing to do with how the backup was stored. We clear?
This is clearly a painful topic for her. She must have had to explain herself numerous times.
Yeah, that's the one. You can get in through the bookshop. You just have to do some explaining to the bookstore lady. That's her name, I believe. Good. Then you might know the giant ice bear fridge in the building's cellar. The filament is inside the fridge. Just go and get it. In the giant ice bear fridge. I just told you. It has red glowing eyes. It's impossible to miss. You just need to get the offsite copy from the ice bear.
But you've been to the fridge and it wasn't there. There was a note saying...
Wait, a note from whom? Did it specify where they took the filament memory? Jawiza. Of course. Our project lead, Suliswov Jawiza. God, he was always so hell-bent on keeping the copy somewhere safe. And feature creep, and the Valley of the Heads. Like it would have made a difference. The offsite copy was perfectly safe when the data loss happened. That data loss was anomalous. And the heads... I won't even get into the heads. Millions of them. Go find that copy from that ice cream maker, will you? Thanks.
Valley of 1,000 Heads. You like the sound of that.
The bookstore lady hates me. Says I'm part of the curse. Whatever that means. Of course not. Anyway, I don't have my keys anymore and she won't let me in. Because she's from Martinez, and people from Martinez have never ever seen a radio computer. She thinks it emits elemental evil. She literally started praying for the higher powers when she first saw my Reims Civic. I'm not making this up. Once I came in one morning, only to find that my terminal was full of those strange trinkets and amulets. Wards. It looked like some Semenine magic. This is getting ridiculous. Can't you just defrost it? Or, I don't know about the ice cream maker. Just figure something out.
There's a solution, but she doesn't want to hand it over to you yet. It's a thing. Something she holds dear.
Thanks. And here's my Kvalsund multi-tool. You might need it to hack loose some ice. It opens everything. If you get me the offside copy, then you can keep the Kvalsund.
It hurts a bit for her to say this. She's not too happy to be parting with the Kvalsund.
Yes? Thanks.
This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner and an electric freezer. The ice around it slowly melting. Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying, like stirring your childhood dreams. In the distance, you hear water dripping. This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner and an electric freezer. Both cables are unplugged from the breaker box. This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner and an electric freezer. The ice around it slowly melting. This orange machine, you slip your finger. You need to have the Kvalsund KR2 multi-tool in your hand, detective. This orange machine is dead still. It has ice squeaks beneath your Kvalsund multi-tool, but your fingers slip away from the tool. The lid shutters tightly as before, and it's already unplugged. There's not much else to do other than wait for it to defrost or bulk up and get stronger. You pick up the handset. There's a tone. The machine is operable. Calling. Still calling. Again? Seriously? Someone with a masculine voice picks up.
Hello, Gerard speaking.
Hello, Gerard. Technically speaking, you're electricity. No, what you are is a surprise. Get his wife on the phone.
Who is this? Who the fuck do you think you are talking to me like that? Very funny, asshole. Why don't you grow up? Oh, and Disco is dead.
Phone hanging. Disconnect tone.
Yes. What is yes? This is getting ridiculous. Can't you just dip?
There's a solution, but she doesn't want to.
Thanks.
It's getting cold, this late in the night. The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest. Across the room, the heating system hums its soft lullaby. The mattress feels soft and sheets warm. It only takes you moments for the world to fall away.
Thoughts, baby. A million little lights in the dark. You're one fine instrument, brother. All those faces and all those names. All that laughter and screaming and scheming around. Every corner and every street.
Recorded in you forever on ferrotape.
On and on it goes for untold hours. At the disco where you first asked her to dance. Rising, rising, above the dark curvature, the great wingspan of sleep.
Behold, there are millions of them down there. The first time, the last time, the smoke in her mouth, the plotted flowers, the faces turning, changing.
It's the world, Harry boy, and you're made of it. Every day you're out there, you make more of yourself from it. I'm afraid you can't be unmade now. You can never forget this shit.
Beautiful. It's stuck on loop. whirling, spitting out words and images.
You're the son of the world again. Harrister, a ceaseless agent. Picking up litter and old newspapers, collecting your little bubblegum wrappers and idiotic picture postcards. Meaningless, meaningless keepsakes.
Reading your awful letters and recalling things, aren't you? The endless names of the world. An address book you are. The map of a city.
You'll go insane if you keep going like this. One more day, and you'll be in the loony bin. I just know you will. And for what, brother man?
For the working class. For the money, baby. For the greater good. For Revacol. Always and only Revacol.
Solving your little crossword puzzles. Doing your tasks. Crossing names off lists. Trying to become some sort of world detector. It won't make it okay. It won't put smoke back in her mouth.
He's got no idea what he's in for.
'Cause only love can break your heart. Beep, beep, beep. The alarm is ringing, Harry. The disco circus goes on and on. You barely slept 3 hours last night.
Do it for the wind. Good. You're up. Listen, there's something that's been bothering you for a few days now. It's a suspicion, or a feeling really, that things are not quite in hand around here. Every day, things seem to spin more and more wildly, out of control. The center isn't holding, and despite your efforts to moderate and contain these energies, things only seem to be getting worse. Oh sure, you've been making progress on your case, interviewing people, solving side tasks. But who's focusing on the big questions? But have you ever seen them? How do you know they're even there? More importantly, how do you know they aren't waiting for your participation? You've got to find out who bears la responsabilité. The most awesome, terrible thing. It is human nature to crave la responsabilité and to deny it. That's why it must be distributed across many different organizations, agencies, offices, and portfolios. Harry, you're thinking about this too narrowly. La responsabilité isn't concerned with trivial questions like who killed who. It's about the real issues, the human welfare index, the price of staple goods, the transition to real democracy. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This isn't some kind of dictatorship. You can simply seize la responsabilité for yourself. It must be given by legitimate authority, like a committee. There is always time to follow best practices. Once someone's decided to cut corners for the sake of expediency, who knows what else they're capable of. Swift, decisive action. A little self-dealing. Only the most even-keeled minds in Martinez. Your half-brother, the lieutenant, is a natural place to start. Together, you'll be able to discover who has la responsabilité in Revachol, and, if necessary, you'll have the wisdom and expertise to assign it among yourselves. Most likely, your findings will be collected in a report, which will be carefully reviewed by your superiors. Once they've reviewed it, those same superiors will produce a set of recommendations to be taken up at the next meeting of the Standing Committee. Rest assured, no matter what happens, it will be done through the proper channels. Good luck. Your report is eagerly anticipated.